Hi everyone, it's Ants. Today I'm going to be talking about how to create a custom HTML shell for your Godot web projects. So basically the web HTML shell is basically like the preloader that actually loads the game engine on the web, similar to the libgdx preloader. And you could completely customize it. It's just an HTML page. You get way more customization, actually limitless customization on the Godot platform. As long as you know CSS and JavaScript, you could do absolute wonders. I am not a CSS expert. I know how to use it, but I am, in terms of all the different properties and all that and how to make it look beautiful, I am not strong at all at it. But I did need a custom HTML shell because I needed to go full screen, and even Godot basically has it in its documentation. Oh, by the way, you need to customize it if you want the user to automatically go full screen after they click, run the game and all that. So I'm going to show you that, and that's the motivation why I needed it to do that. But let's go through the agenda so that we'll get some more clarity of what we're going to talk about. So basically, I'm going to show you where the existing documentation for custom HTML shell, and there's actually some good stuff in there. There's links in there, and there's actually stuff in there that basically say, hey, you're going to need to modify it anyways, because if you want to go full screen, you need to modify and have the user click on a button. And I basically said, well, if the user is going to need that anyways, why don't you just actually have that part of the template? But anyways, and then we're going to go through, so there's only 2 existing GitHub repositories, older, 3 years old and 4 years old, that actually have examples of a custom HTML template. They're not for Godot 4, it's more for Godot 3.x, right? And I'm going to talk about my customization and why my requirements. So the number one requirement is I want the user to force a click on a button so that I can actually go full screen, because you won't be able to go full screen unless the user actually clicks on it. And it's the browser that actually blocks it for security reasons. And then I wanted to change the color. The default one is black and it has like a gray progress bar, and I got rid of that and I just changed the color to like my logo colors. And I have an animated customized my animated logo that's only a 6K GIF. So it's super fast. So I wanted it fast and super quick, and I wanted it easy to use CSS and JavaScript. So that was my motivation of doing it. And so let's get started, right? So here's my template over here. Well, let's go to the documentation first so that we're all on the same page. Documentation is here. Okay. Custom HTML page for a web export, right? As you can see here is some use cases where customizing the default page is useful include, like this is exactly why I needed to do it, is adding a click to play button so that the games can be started in the full screen mode. That's exactly what and then I'm like, well, why don't you actually have basically the default page to actually, it's called This Is It here, the full size HTML. Why don't you actually have it in there, right? But anyways, there's other things that you might want to do. You actually might want to preload other PCK files or zip files up front so that it's available all the time. So if you're switching to another level that is humongous and all that, you might want to preload it even right at the beginning. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do. It's actually fully configurable. At a minimum, all you need is this as your preloader. That's all you need. And there's a few things here. And again, there's another kind of little bit, it's not a mistake, but it's like something that's missing. So one is the config. So the config shows you is everything that when you export, all that config when you export is actually in this variable that gets replaced. and the Godot URL is the pointing to where the JavaScript files are. And over here should be another variable that's called project name. And if you read this again, the Godot project name, the project name as defined by the project setting, it is a good idea to use it as a title in your template. Well, if it's a good idea, why don't you put that in and all of that? But anyways, and then it goes how to export. You guys probably know that already. And then it goes into, hey, you have way more. You could break down the loading into separate parts, and you could do different things. You could customize the behavior, customize the presentation. So again, I wanted to customize the presentation, so I had to do that. You could do more debugging. There's all sorts of stuff you can do on the preloader, right? Okay, so yeah, so let's go to existing repositories. So let's go back to, so I talked about documentation. Let's go to existing repositories. Okay, so let's go to existing repositories. There's two of them. One is 3 years and one is 4 years. The 4 years one, I would not look at it. The 3 year one with the full screen HTML has some interesting stuff. It actually builds similar to what is in itch.io, where there's a button that hovers over the entire canvas, and you could click on it and it will toggle full screen, and it will change the icon too. So it's actually kind of interesting. And I took some of the code out there that actually checks all the different browser to go full screen. Here it is over here. So if it's WebKit, if it's Mozilla, all sorts of stuff, so it actually goes full screen, right? So this is my template that I have. It's actually it's not that much, you know, half of it is CSS, and then this is taken from that library to change it a little bit, and that's basically it, right? So let's see it in action, right? I don't want this video to go on too long, so it's 7 minutes. I want it less than 10 minutes. So export. So all you need to do is point to your custom template, right? And it has to be part of your project. So you have to actually dump the HTML template in your project and point to it. Click on export, and that's basically it. And I have everything here. This is the template here. I have some other files here that, you know, the Python script that starts the server, and then I have a Windows batch file that actually starts the server because you have to pass it a bunch of parameters. And then I have the animated GIF that's less than 6K. And let's actually see it in action. All right, let's reload. So this is basically it, right? This is my template. I'm gonna move it more toward the center, and it's basically a button, and you know the mouse will change, the cursor icon will change when you hover over, and maybe I'll rename it to click me to load game or to start game or whatever. And when they click on it, it goes full screen. It shows my logo and it's an animated GIF, and then it starts. Now it's still too fast because this this template, it's a template. It's not a game, it's a template. And it's a web template, so I know it works on the web. And that's basically it. And it plays the music and it goes full screen, and that's exactly what I want. Right? And the user can cancel out of that by either putting escape or on that, and then I could go to full screen. This template has credits, and let's go fast on the credits here. Integration into GameJolt, and then settings. I had to axe a bunch of desktop settings like TAA, FSR 1 and 2, voice channel and different voice. Like there's really not much available on HTML, but the basics are there. So that's my template, right? And here's my preloader, and it won't load until the user clicks on it. Boom, full screen. And that's the reason why I had to go through this journey to actually get that done. All right, so let's go back to agenda. So my requirements are all been met, and that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed that and it was useful. There will now be three available GitHub repositories that will actually show you how to create a custom HTML shell so that you could preload your game with a custom icon and you could go full screen and all that kind of stuff. So we are at over 10 minutes, so I'm going to call it quits. Thank you for watching and take care. Have a great day.